This is a briefing on emerging technologies by Benzaiten Advisors. I'm Reena Dayal, and I'm going to be taking you through this particular briefing. We will look at the digital age version X.0. We will look at the impact of technology changes in the past and our inability as the industry, business, and society to forecast these changes in certain cases. We will examine a framework for projecting impact of technology changes on multiple dimensions so that it can be useful for decision making. We will examine the word global in the new context and understand what it means. With the technology changes, we will examine cross-industry impact, and we will attempt to predict the future and see how we can adapt and evolve. When we say digital 1.0, 2.0, and so on, we are sort of using it as a frame of reference for the maturity of certain technologies. But in reality, it is a continuum. At any point in time, there are certain technologies that would have matured. There are still other technologies that would be just taking off, and yet others who would be somewhere in between. So without worrying too much about the X.0, let's examine what's happening with respect to certain technologies right now and in the immediate future. Today we are seeing a whole lot of connectedness across the world because of advancements in communication and networking technologies. With the advent of 5G, we will see a lot more sensor and machine data coming on the internet. And even in India, there are telecom vendors who are doing the 5G trials, and the technology is likely to be commercially available sometime in the mid of next year. So what's going to happen in that context? We will see a lot of machines, sensors, and humans all communicating on the internet. In this context, we'll see a lot of data coming from autonomous cars, from drones, from robotics, from extended reality, mixed reality, virtual reality kind of solutions, all of them sitting together on the internet. All of this data which is coming from humans and machines and sensors can be analyzed, and all of this analytics can be used to take certain decisions which can be transmitted back on the network. Apart from that, the network itself is growing more and more intelligent, with more intelligent nodes coming in, and what we will see is a growth of this intelligent which is becoming all pervasive across the internet, right? So we will see an all pervasive intelligence. We will see that information can be transmitted from every part of the world to every other part of the world. Now, today, we do not have global connectivity. We know that there are remote areas which are not yet connected. But as there is progress happening, there is satellite communication, small cell networks, and some proprietary technologies like Microsoft White Spaces are attempting to reach out to the furthest corners of the earth and create that connectivity. So I'm pretty confident that in the next few years, we will sort of see a much larger connectivity across the globe. And this opens up the opportunity for providing solutions to these hitherto unexposed portions of the population around the world who are newly connected to the internet. Because all the data is going to be on the internet, and while keeping privacy considerations in mind, there will be a certain amount of transparency like never before, and there is an opportunity to trace all actions. That can mean good or bad depending upon the industry and the solution viewpoint that you're taking here. Even while we talk about 5G technology, there is already research that has started on 6G technology. What is fascinating is that, on paper, this can give you 1 terabytes per second kind of connectivity when the technology does come in. And apart from that, we will see a lot more tighter integration of the edge computing with the network infrastructure. In fact, it will be part of the network infrastructure itself, enabling a much more seamless connectivity of these machines that are there on the internet. With the type of speeds that we're talking about in 6G, the virtual worlds, the extended reality, mixed reality, virtual reality applications, will have a much richer look and feel, a much more realistic look and feel, and the virtual world scenario is going to change completely. Now, before we talk about cryptocurrencies, let's examine the online financial transactions and the digital payment area in India. A few years ago, there were very few of these, and it was only after the demonetization that India suddenly decided to go online in a massive upswing of the number of digital transactions that were happening. In fact, in August 2021, the number of UPI transactions were valued at rupees 6.39 lakh crores, which is roughly US dollar 86.77 billion, which is a huge, huge number. And in comparison with some other countries like China and Korea, India is in fact leading in the sheer number of these online transactions that are happening. Now, apart from this, digital currencies, even with cryptocurrencies, there is already millions of people who are investing in them in India, and of course, we do not know what regulations will play out, but this is an area which is very, very important to watch out for. It's important not just from the perspective of the investment perspective, but the opportunity that it provides for a wider integration of a currency format across the world. Now, from a space perspective, there is a rapid progress in space technologies in the last few years after a pause of a few decades. And now different countries across the world are gearing up for mission to Moon and mission to Mars, apart from various other missions to other planets in the solar system. Some of these may be unmanned. So advancements in space technology, is being spurred by advancements in robotics and advancements in materials, and it will also have a fallout on some of these allied technologies and allied industries. So for example, improvement in materials and how, if meant for the space industry, how can these materials be used in other industries, etc., is an area of innovation, and we will see a lot more startups coming up in this space. From a blockchain perspective, anywhere where we need a distributed autonomy, blockchain comes in important, bringing in the right amount of integrity and protection of the data. So solutions which are focused on, on this planet, to things like satellite communication synchronization, to identity management, end-to-end logistic management, tracing anything, whether it is money to the last mile for aid, for providing aid projects, or looking at tracking a mineral which becomes a part of an equipment till the point that the equipment is disposed of, and therefore ensuring that hazardous materials are treated properly. So there are tons of applications, and this is another technology which is going to reach a different level of maturity as we move forward. When COVID happened around 2 years ago, nobody foresaw that the amount of connectivity and remote working and the kind of connectivity solutions and remote working solutions that would be utilized, and at the scale that they would be utilized. It was completely unprecedented, and it was very, very successful. When people started working from home, they were closer to home, they were closer to the near and dear ones, and more of work-life integration happened. And in this process of work-life integration, there was a lot more time for people to be able to think about work-life balance, to think about life itself, to think about what they wanted from life. And this has resulted in a very, very different, unprecedented phenomena. Record 4.3 million people resigned in August, according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, right? And the American psychologist Anthony Klotz has called it the Great Resignation. India is also seeing a huge amount of resignations. Now, all of these people are not leaving the industry. They are people who are moving from one company to another. There are others who are moving from one kind of job to another kind of job. Yet there are other people who are taking the advantage of this ability to work remotely and work from anywhere, to be part of the gig economy and not be tied down to one employer. The power now is in the hand of the workforce, and which also means that the kind of incentives that are needed to make work more attractive for people are going to be very, very different, and most of the companies need to relook at the strategies that they have for attracting motivating and retaining talent. Apart from this, there is an impact of an aging population, which, especially the Eastern cultures have completely missed the mark. If you look at India, India has been, taking the advantage of having a very young labor force. With the increase in population levels, this has, continued to be there for some time. But what we're really missing out on the fact is that there's a lot more older people now, and with those older people, there is an opportunity for and need for better healthcare solutions, geriatric care, and there is a whole new industry that is required to come up and support them in ways that that have not been traditionally done in the past, especially in India, where families are supposed to take care of the older people. There is a dire need for different kind of solutions in that space. Now, if you look at the future life expectancy projections for 2040 by Statistica, in a world in data, you will see that the average life expectancy across different countries has not only increased dramatically, it has increased across the globe. Now, there are a lot more centenarians today than there were earlier, and as we go forward, this average life expectancy is going to grow up across India, across different segments of population. So there is an opportunity here in terms of having a much more productive workforce for a longer duration. Careers are going to have a completely different meaning. There is no concept of a single career. If you're going to be working for 50 years, you might well as dabble with not just one, two, maybe three careers. And as this life expectancy grows, so will this focus. This whole concept of retirement needs a relook. Most people, if they are mentally and physically active, even when they move to their 70s, etc., the concept of retirement is not going to gel well. The third thing is that, with the aging population comes this challenge of increased onset of diseases like Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, and so on. So, advancements in science have not kept at pace with the increase in lifespan, and we see a lot more people suffering from these diseases. So that is going to be a challenge and something that the healthcare industry needs to, sort of ramp up their innovation in that space and see how these diseases can be prevented. Apart from this, there is also an opportunity for creating better geriatric care solutions. So here, there's an opportunity for startups to come up with new solutions in this space for the aging population. This Tech Impact Framework helps us understand the technology progression through various stages of maturity, the impact of each of these technology areas across different impact dimensions, and the time frame for each type of impact. Now, impact in one area can result in scenarios which impact other areas. So, cross-linkages across impact areas are also relevant. Sometimes several technology areas create certain kind of impact scenarios which can create new opportunities for industries and can also completely disrupt industries. Some example of cross-linkage is the example of how China's unique position in the semiconductor supply chain has resulted in a conscious effort by many nation states to change the supply chain dynamics of the semiconductor industry. Now, this in turn has created a unique opportunity for India. Now, with the opportunity in the semiconductor industry, there is now an opportunity to disrupt the IoT and the manufacturing 4.0 technologies in India as well, and create new disruptions in partnership with AI and 5G networks. So if you are in the manufacturing sector, logistics and distribution, healthcare, smart cities, smart home technologies, insurance sector, you stand the possibility of being disrupted, but you also have the opportunity to work on new solutions. A good example in the insurance sector is Tesla Insurance, which is extremely competitively priced insurance offerings designed to provide Tesla vehicle owners with up to 20% lower rates, and in some cases as much as 30%. And all this is possible because of the kind of data and analytics that is captured by these vehicles on the driving patterns of various people. There are a whole lot of other examples of cross-industry impact. For example, with the help of artificial intelligence, we can search for new kinds of materials which may help us do direct carbon capture and help us have more carbon negative processes, thus helping sustainability efforts on this planet. If you look at the space and the allied industries, for the research happening for creating habitat materials for Mars, the same materials have found possible new uses on Earth and could create new construction paradigms here itself, thus disrupting the construction industry and so on. There are a lot of these cross linkages that are possible. In the not so distant future, the word global will have completely new meanings. With settlements on Moon and Mars, and with the connectivity reach to the furthest corners of the Earth, the word global will have a completely new connotation. With the increase in connectivity speeds, the advent of virtual worlds, extended reality will enable virtual scenarios, extended reality scenarios, which will add a new dimension to the word global. So I think there is a need to relook at this word, keep observing it in the context of the new changes that are coming in, and think of solutions that are truly global. If you're on the board of a company, a senior exec in a company, a business leader in the industry, somebody who's managing an industry forum, you're, a thought leader, you're with the government responsible for policy and regulations, I think it's important to be able to predict the future, understand the impact of various technologies, and evolve accordingly. More importantly, it's important to not just understand the long-term impact of technology, but also understand the need for policy and regulations so that these efforts can start at the same time while the technology is maturing, so that these regulations and policies are ready when the technology is ready to be rolled out and does not happen as an afterthought. Planning for digital transformation now should always be done keeping in mind the long-term implications of the technologies that you're planning to adopt and also other technologies that are on the horizon. Keeping a watch out for disruption to prevent company obsolescence, and also look at the opportunity that some of these disruptions are likely to bring for your own company. So I think this is extremely important for decision makers to keep a tab on. Apart from this tech impact framework, in Benziton Advisors, we also support our customers through working out a proper balanced innovation management portfolio. Every time we invest in innovation, we need to understand the risk that comes with that investment. And while it's important to prepare for the long term, it is also important to keep your current products and solutions alive and increasing and provide growth opportunities for them. So how does one balance the innovation portfolio? The first step for that is to be able to predict what's going to happen in the long term, medium term, and short term, and then look at the risk investments, look at the innovation investments in a manner where the risk is managed well. And there is a framework called the InnoRisk Matrix that we have, which helps you do exactly that. This is just a high-level overview of what a generic technology briefing can look like. If you want to delve deeper into any of these topics, please reach out to me at reenadayal@benzitonadvisors.com. You can check out more details of our offerings at www.benzitonadvisors.com. We can look at briefings which are as generic as this one, or individual director briefing program, a group briefing program, a board briefing program, and then when we can go deeper into each of these areas and do a emerging tech innovation management program for your company. Thank you. Bye.